What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel, check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to react to a recent episode of I think it's called Get Up with Mike Goldberg. Yeah, and the crew that they had on ESPN, right? And so they kind of they went back at Charles Barkley for when Charles Barkley said that that LeBron James always stack his team, and that's not a good look. Which I agree with Charles Barkley, right? And I think that because when you stack your teams like that, I think you really, in my opinion, as a player, you are cheating yourself and you're cheating the fans. And so in the long run, it's not good for you or the fans, right? Because y'all, the fans don't get the most out of seeing you persevere and overcome, and you don't get the the feeling of perseverance and what it feels like to overcome. And so when the NBA tell you, put you in a position where, all right, you don't have to work that hard. We are going to, we're going to make it look good for you. It's almost like being a singer, right? And you go into the studio and they just tell you to sing the song, and you say, well, that didn't sound right. They don't worry about it. We'll cut it up and we'll edit it and we'll make you sound good, right? That's the easy way out. And then so if you go to do a live performance, you're not going to be, you sound good on record, but when you go to do a live performance, it's not going to be something that the fans like or they want to hear, right? And so you cheat the fans and you cheat yourself. And it's the same thing with basketball. LeBron James, not cherry picking, not just going ahead and grinding it out and pushing yourself to be the best basketball player that you can be in the long run would pay off more than just having the media like ESPN cover for you, right? And to make up these stories and to allow the media, the NBA, and ESPN to build your legacy and to basically just manufacture everything for you and sound like a good deal on face, right? Be like, you know what? I don't have to work as hard. Just allow the media and allow the league just to build my legacy for me. But if they build your legacy, they can also destroy your legacy, right? And so with that being said, let me go into or play what Charles Barkley had to say, and then ESPN's reaction to what Charles Barkley had to say, and then I'm gonna come back and give my input.
The number one knock on LeBron for older guys like myself has always been, yo, man, you always stacking your team. He stacked it in Miami. He stacked it in Cleveland. He stacked it in LA. Now he's stacking it in Philly. So that, to me, I'm going to still have the same criticism I've always had. He's always stacked his team.
All right, Monica McNutt, Brian Windhorst, and Jay Will, I'll start with you. Is that fair?
And I love Uncle Chuck. The biggest flaw in this argument for me is that, people treat player agency as if it's less legitimate than front office agency. So when, Red Auerbach, finds a way to stack a team, he's exceptional. He's a genius. When Brad Stevens does it, he's a visionary. When Jerry West does it, he's such an incredible leader. But somehow when a player kind of takes in his own agency to do that for himself, then it becomes a character flaw. And I think that's the flaw overall in the argument. Like, this is a different time and an age where players feel as if they're bigger than the franchise. It's the way people follow the game. And I think LeBron James is one of the rare few that, because of his agency and because of the power that comes along with being LeBron James, that he can pick and choose and kind of skew the rails in the direction he wants. And I don't think that's a character flaw. I think it's just the genius of LeBron being a GM and being the player that actually demands that type of control as the player he is.
All right, let me stop it right there and just say this. The thing about Red Auerbach, when he picked players back in the day to play on the team, he still wanted these guys to compete. Bill Russell didn't come to play for Red Auerbach and just say, man, make my route easier. Bill Russell had to compete against Wilt Chamberlain. He had to find a way to beat Wilt Chamberlain. Now, that's why people love Bill Russell the way they love Bill Russell. The guy Red Auerbach wanted people to compete. And so that's what Charles Barkley is talking about. Like, don't build your team, don't try to cherry pick and build your team, compete against these guys. That's what Mike talking about. Like, Mike didn't want to play with Larry Bird. Mike wanted to beat him. Mike wanted to beat Magic. Like, why? And so, because when you compete against these guys, that means that when you're going up against Larry Bird, you got to be on top of your game. You got to, you got to get better every year. When you go up, Mike had to get better when he had to go against Detroit. Mike had to get better when he played against Magic, and back in those days, Milwaukee Bucks was tough. Mike had to learn how to win. And so Mike took a whole franchise with him on that journey. Mike got his butt kicked by Detroit. And the fans of Chicago felt that, just like Mike felt it, right? And then when Mike finally got over that hump, man, the fans got over that hump. And that creates a different type of love and respect, man. That fan base had for Mike. And that's something that LeBron James, when you just go ahead and every year, LeBron's been in the league for 24 years, right? Going on 24. So if you had to put LeBron James on the best team every year, fans, and he won every year, it still wouldn't have the same effect as when Mike won those 6 rings. If LeBron had 24 rings every year, they said, well, we're going to put LeBron James on OKC because they got the best lineup this year. Next year, we're going to put him on the Spurs because the Spurs got the best lineup. And they was winning like that. Ain't no challenge. Ain't no perseverance. Ain't no peaks and no valleys. People don't appreciate sunny days until it start raining. You know what I mean? And then so once it start raining and the weather is not all that good, then when it's sunny outside, people appreciate that, man, even more. So LeBron James, man, just wanting it's different. And the panel of this crew right here, and I'm gonna play some more what they say because they don't do LeBron James any favor. And I think that players who come after LeBron James, they're not going to follow in his footsteps. They are going to see the error in his ways, and they're just not going to do it that way because ESPN and the NBA basically owns they own LeBron James. And the reason I say they own LeBron James because LeBron James he didn't have to care about what fans thought about him because everything was manufactured, right? And so he don't have any connection to any fan base, because he was never close to the fan base. He don't even really he's not even going to live in the city of Philadelphia. So he don't care about the Philadelphia fan base. He don't care about the Laker fan base because everything is manufactured. But once ESPN and once the NBA cut LeBron James loose, he won't be able to tap into no fan base. He won't have no leverage because all of his leverage is through ESPN and it's through the NBA. Whereas though if LeBron James had been like Mike, Magic, Bird, Kobe, he will always have his own separate fan base, independent of the NBA, independent of this ESPN, and he would be able to capitalize on that. LeBron James, basically, in my opinion, if you don't have a fan base, you broke. And I don't care how much money you make through your league, through the years in the league, you basically broke. You just a consumer, because you don't have anything to draw from because you didn't put anything back out there. So let me listen to some more of what this crew had to say. But these are just basically lies.
One of the greatest to ever do it.
Monica.
Jay was so eloquent, and I love that. But basically, this is, okay, you got it, whatever. Like, this is the way that the league goes right now. You know what I mean? Like, I think what LeBron is attempting to do here late, and I think in the rest of that conversation, Charles Barkley actually reintroduces his GOAT conversation. What he is attempting to do, and Wendy used this word in our earlier conversation this morning, ridiculous with all the positive connotations. Like everything about his career so far to this point has been ridiculous. To come in with all the pressure that we remember 20-something years ago as the #1 overall draft pick and to only exceed, why would the last couple of years not also fall into that category in terms of an opportunity to bring a trophy back to Philadelphia? Like, I have no problem with this, and I'm fascinated to see how it unfolds.
Wendy, I'm
All right. And so what she's saying, all right, what's her name? Monica McNutt is saying that, okay, you know, and so this is how younger generations cheat themselves, right? Some people, younger generations, think they know everything, and then when Charles Barkley say some stuff, he make a comments. He telling you from his own experience, and he telling you for a reason. Now, they just had Ryan Clark just got fired away from ESPN, right? ESPN just let Ryan Clark go, but Ryan Clark has his own network. He got The Pivot. He got his own podcast, and it's called The Pivot. Now, just imagine if like Monica McNutt, everything she had is through ESPN. She can go now and try to start her own podcast, which she might already have one. But the larger platform is ESPN, right? And so it's more important to you, like I said, to build your own. And that's what the people who are doing that, building their own and having their own fan base, so they can tap in and be their own person, that, you know, their own man or their own woman. That's more important, because once these networks are finished with you, then it's just a whole different. Now you out there and you looking for a job. And in this day and age, is no reason to be in that situation. That's why, you know, like Ryan Clark gonna be okay, because he has his own, whether you agree with Ryan Clark or not on some of his takes or his stances, he's still going to be okay. Same thing with Shannon Sharp. Same thing with Pat McAfee, right? Those guys have their own platform. They have independence. LeBron James, man, he never tried to appeal to any fan base. And so they are condoning this with their statements. So listen to some more of these statements that they're making.
fascinated to hear your perspective on it. This dates back, obviously, to the original decision when he took his talents to South Beach and all the things that have happened since. Does Charles Barkley have a point?
Well, Charles very clearly was speaking as a Hall of Famer, top 75 player. He's talking about what his and his peers' viewpoints are. And I can't speak to that. That's what Charles is saying he views it as. I would just say, absolutely, the team in Miami was stacked. And absolutely, Bosh, and Wade came together to stack it. The following free agencies, I'm not sure that's true. He came to Cleveland. They hadn't made the playoffs in 4 years. They did the Love trade. Kevin Love had no history of any success in the playoffs. If you want to call that a stacked team, I guess, but like from stacked says who? Then he goes to Los Angeles. The Lakers had missed the playoffs for 5 years. The team had nothing on it. They missed the playoffs the first year. They had to dump the roster and totally redo it and then get Anthony Davis. And, you know, in this situation, if he didn't go to Philly, like where did Charles or the Legends want him to go? Did they want him to go to the G League? Because if he went to Cleveland, is that team stacked? Is Miami with Bam Adebayo and Giannis Antetokounmpo, is that team stacked? Jokic and Jamal Murray, is that team stacked? And Edwards, Rudy Gobert? I don't know. He left Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves. Is that not it? I don't understand the
These are intelligent people and trying to act like they don't understand Charles Barkley's point. His point is LeBron James never wanted to compete against anybody that was really the best in the league. And that's not what you got from Kobe. You didn't get that from Bird. You didn't get that from Magic. And you damn sure didn't get that from Mike. These all guys wanted to compete. LeBron James, he didn't want to compete. You know, like Mike kept people from winning championship rings. You can name so many great basketball players that played during Michael Jordan era that did not get a ring. Like if you had to go through Chicago to get a ring, you wasn't going to get it. But if you had to go through LeBron James to get a ring, even with him moving around and stacking the teams, it's a damn good chance. There's a 60% chance that you're going to get it. You know, all of Steph Curry rings came through LeBron James. That's crazy. LeBron James lost 4. He won 4 and lost 6. So even with the NBA and ESPN manufacturing a narrative for LeBron James, he still wasn't able to, because that that passion for the game, man. Now I can't if LeBron James had Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant or Magic or Bird, if their work ethic, LeBron probably would have, man, probably about 10 or 15. He probably had 10 rings, but he didn't work like that. And because they didn't, it wasn't required for LeBron James to work like that. LeBron James had to show up, and they can just edit, just like they would do a movie, and then they could, change the narratives and all that stuff like that. And so for Brian Windhorst, Monica McNutt, and Mike Goldberg to act like they don't get the point that LeBron James just didn't want to compete. You can't put this on what is it, like GMs and stuff like that, because a lot of times GMs and owners have to protect players from themselves. Michael Jordan wanted to come. He broke his foot. I think it was in the second year, the first or second year. They had to make Michael Jordan sit out. He came back early. He wanted to compete earlier than what he should have. You know what I mean? So sometimes you got to protect them kind of players from themselves because they want to be out there. These guys are dogs, man. But then you got LeBron James flopping and doing this, what is it called? The load management and stuff like that. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. And the thing about it is, once LeBron James separate himself from ESPN, once he leave the NBA, he don't have nothing else to fall back on. He gonna have $1.5 billion, but that's it. All that make LeBron James is a consumer. You don't have no leverage, no power, no. When you go to a business meeting, they was like, well, what kind of, what are your fan base? Bring your fan base. And that's how people get advertising and marketing deals now, because of your fan base. That's what, you build your brand and you leverage that when you go into these different business meetings. So LeBron James, and they just helping LeBron James to ruin his legacy. And that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment, and I'll check you all out in the next video. Peace.